Hey there everybody. It is about 12:30 at night and I am about to stop for the night, but I wanted to show you where we're at on this big basement remodel project. I'm surprised I have enough energy to talk, but I got a lot of the fixtures in. Got the mirror, the towel rack, the cabinet. The beadboard is all painted. The bathtub is in, and I started tiling today. And I'd have one piece there, and I have a couple of pieces over here, which are going to be the fun part because I have to go around the valves and the pipes and all that fun stuff. So I had to make a run to Lowe's and get the proper equipment to do so. But other than that, I do need to put the trim molding or trim tile along the shampoo box there, which is going to be the same as this edge tile here. So it will look pretty. It took a lot of time just to do that box. FYI, if you are going to tackle that, plan ahead, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But I would definitely do the box first if you're going to do one. And then basically what I did is I found the center of the shower, which that box is a little bit off center, because I wanted it to be closer to the shower head area. So mistake, maybe, I don't know. Will anybody really notice except for me? Probably not. I'm just saying. So essentially I wanted to share with you that you always tile the back wall first and get that done. And then you want to start from the edge of the side wall so that you have a full tile at the side wall. And then as you go back, then you have the cut tile there. So at least in my brain, that's how you do it. So I think it looks better. So anyways, I could be wrong. I might have that backwards, but whatever. I'm not unhappy with my progress here. So I'm a little loopy at this time of night, but I wanted to share with you and let you know that things are moving right along. Got some of my gear over here. I still need to plug those holes with the panels. As you can see, I have them ready. I just need to get them in there. The sink is in, the drains are in, and I'll give you a little, another peekaboo. Yes, this is my house right now. This is called Remodel Land. And, oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. The knobs that I picked out, I totally love. I'm still waiting for a spice rack and a cup, and I got some shelf brackets that I'm going to hang some shelves that I thought were really pretty, and they go really nicely with the knobs. So I hope you enjoyed. I do have a couple of rugs that I'm going to unfurl that I got today from FedEx from Jocelyn, Maine, because they had this amazing rug sale. So they match, and I'm going to have a runner right there, and then in front of the sofa in the next room I'll have another matching rug. So anyway, happy homemaking, everybody. I am going to bed, and I'm sure I'll be up bright and early to finish the tile job because I'm so excited to see it done. Then I'll have to wait one more day to get the grout done, but I'm sure I'll have plenty of cleanup stuff and details in the meantime. So happy homemaking, everyone. Nighty night. I have a tip for you, a tiling tip. And so I'm getting to the point now where I have to make some holes in the tile for the fixtures. So I just completed the tub faucet and the shower valve holes. And I wanted to make a couple of very important points to you. So first I'll show you how I took the measurements to make sure that these were correct. But I wanted to make sure that you understood. When you buy a faucet valve like this, it will come with a piece like this. And I don't know, it's called a Eustachian or something like that. I can't pronounce it and I can't remember it. But it comes with this, and this is not part of what actually goes on the shower valve itself. It is a template for you to use when your plumber is doing your rough-in plumbing, as well as for you to cut the hole in your tile. So hang on to this. Do not throw it away. It is not garbage. You can cut off the little screw holes, which I got a tip from a guy on YouTube. You can cut those off so that you can lay it flat on the tile as a template once you figure out where your center is going to be. So I wanted to show you why this is so important, and I'm also going to show you how I was cutting the tile, because the proper tools means absolutely everything when you are cutting holes in tile. So obviously I'm using a wet saw for the straight cuts, just taking really careful measurements, always measure twice, cut once. So I want you to see how rough that cut is behind, but you're not going to see it at all because of the cover plate that goes on the shower valve. So for this particular hole, I have a Dremel tool, a rotary Dremel tool that has like a spinning wheel on it. You can get different wheels for it. I have a plastic and wood cutting wheel, a metal wheel, and now I have a tile wheel as well. And I have to tell you, for this project, I used all three multiple times. So get the right tools. It makes the world of difference in how frustrated you get. So, but essentially, when you're cutting this tile, put it on a nice sturdy flat surface. I also had blue painter's tape covering the entire area, and that's where I drew my center point in order to find the center for that. And then I used that Eustachian, the funny little plastic thing, in order to trace around to get the diameter of the hole that I need. For this particular hole, since as you can see that is so much smaller, there's no way I'm going to get a grinder wheel in there. So I bought a diamond tip hole saw blade that just goes onto your drill, and I have a tip for you about that as well on how to get it started, especially on a rough surface tile like this. It was a little challenging, but I figured it out, and I will show you and give you a tip on that because we still have to do the shower head hole. So I'll get back to you on that. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that tip. So as far as measuring is concerned, I used, let me reach it behind me here. Okay, so I used a little square, and I also used a tape measure, but for the longer measurements, but I used this to help mark on the tile. I laid the tile flat on the floor, face up. You can do it face down, but then you'd have to reverse everything, just FYI. So make sure you're thinking. You also have to account for the grout joint that you're going to be doing. So what I did is I took my thing and I came down here and I measured from the tile, and I know I've got 1/4 inch grout lines. So I measured from the existing tile that I had already placed, this one over here, this one here, measured from that to the center point on the pipe. And then I moved it over 1/4 inch that direction to make sure that when I'm marking it on my tile, I'm marking it in the right spot. So for this measurement, I got 5 3/8. So I went, and then I also measured from the bottom where I knew I was going to set the little spacers in here. So I put the spacers on the tub and I measured up, and it was 4 inches to the center again of that pipe hole. So I went over to my tile and I first measured the distance 4 inches from here, 4 inches from here, made a straight line across, and then I knew that I had to come over 5 3/8 from that side, because I measured twice, cut it once. Can't stress that enough, especially if you're dealing with expensive tiles. And then that crosshair became my center point for my hole. So I had the tape all on the tile first, then take your measurements, mark your center point, and then that's where you're gonna drill your hole. Same concept for up here, except I used the grinder wheel. So large format tiles, a little comment about that. You also want to make absolutely sure that you're using the right adhesive for large format tiles. These tiles are 10 inches by 30 inches, so they're pretty big. And I have been using type 1 adhesive. It's Mapei, M-A-P-E-I. I got it at Lowe's, and it has been really working well for me. As you can see, I even got some of the some of the cross pieces on. And this is another little tip for you as well. When you're putting edging on like that, just to make sure nothing shifts or whatever, you can put a little tape on it to hold it down so that it doesn't move on you while it's drying. So, so I will take my measurements for this hole up here, and so I'll kind of give you an example. So I know that my tile actual height is 29 3/4 inches. So I'm going to measure up from the bottom, because I know that's going to be a stationary point, up 1/4 inch for the grout line, measure up to the center of this pipe, and I'm going to measure again from this edge, which is stationary, to the center point here, make my crosshairs, and I know that's where my hole is going to be. So I'm going to do that, and I will update you again when that is completed, and I'll give you some other tips about cutting this next hole. So we'll see you soon. Happy homemaking. Everybody, this is continuation of the tiling tip for tool belts and lace. I wanted to show you what I've done here. I've got my tile marked, and you can see I've got my blue tape. I drew my line from the bottom of the tile where that fixed point is, accounting for the grout line on the bottom, all the way up here. I just drew a straight line across, and then I measured over from this tile that was sitting here, accounting again for the grout line, over to the center point of the drain. And I just did that right on the wall so that I could see exactly where the center of the shower valve is that or the shower head pipe. So that's going to be my center point. I wanted to show you the tools that I've been using to cut the tile. First of all, I got this little Cobalt wet saw from Lowe's, and I have to tell you, it's been really great. It comes with a diamond blade, it comes with guards, it comes with the this thing to help you make straighter cuts, but I choose not to use it because I'm a pro like that. And it's actually even got a little laser thing, but I found that it's not super accurate, even though it has like a way to adjust it. It doesn't seem to work real well. Anyway, the next thing I've been using is this Dremel tool. Again, I've been using this quite a lot during this project. So that is the tile blade. The other ones look exactly like it, but it'll say wood and plastic or metal on it. Once you've used it a couple of times, that wears off, so just be aware of that, because the friction rubs the boards off. But this thing has been great, and that's how I did that large shower valve hole for the last piece of tile. And then finally we have my regular standard drill. Make sure you're not using an impact drill or one that has a hammer function. If it does have a hammer function, just use the regular drilling function, because if you do that, you're going to break your tile. So this is the diamond hole saw bit that I got, and you can see it's got a little bit of grit to that edge, and ooh, it kind of sparkles. Diamond bits, yay. Anyways, this is what's going to cut this little hole in my tile. The tip that I would like to give you, a big tip, is that when you go to start this hole, first of all, if you have the tape there, it'll protect the top of the tile a little bit from chipping. But if you start this at a slow speed, at an angle of attack, to try to get a bite out of it first, you're going to have more success. Again, go a little bit slow so that you can maintain control so it's not wobbling all over the place, because that's what I did the first time. It didn't look pretty. But once I got on the edge of it here, and I got a nice bite, then I could slowly stand it up so that I'm going directly vertical, and I got a really nice hole from that. So that is a good tip from me to you that I got from another tipster. And if I can figure out how to set my phone up, I will show you me cutting this particular one. Safety first, make sure you're always wearing your glasses. If you have, sensitive respiratory system, you probably want to also look at doing a mask if you're creating a lot of dust. All right, so we're going to give this a try. Hopefully the phone won't fall over from the vibrations, and I'm just doing the best I can with my center hole. So I'm going to hold it firmly and start at a slow speed. Okay, I had a feeling that might happen. Hold on. Let me see if I can get you to see me. Got you leaning up against a coffee cup. Probably not the best view, but okay, let's try that again. So I've got a little bite in there, so hopefully I can stand it up pretty soon, and it's nice and on center. Oop, a little too fast. Just stop and slow down, find your notch again, get it in there. Got a good bite on there. I'm going to shift this just a little bit because I can see that I'm going to hit the wood underneath and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to find my niche again, and here we go. Okay. Forgot to warn you, that's going to be loud. You might want hearing protection as well. Unless you just want to go deaf because you're tired of people talking to you and you're old, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to show you the hole. Let me pick the phone back up here. There it is. Look, it's pretty. It's a pretty hole. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to show you how I've been applying the adhesive. Let me take these gloves off. Stand by. And my lovely glasses. Okay. So I'm going to take all the tape off. Brush it off just a little smidge. I'm going to pick up my tile. I'm going to take it back to my tiling area that I have set up. And I want to show you how to butter the back of a large format tile like this. It's always a good idea, in case you're not fast enough with your tiling, to make sure that you have enough time. Because if you just smear the adhesive on the wall, then you gotta, hurry up quick before it dries to get your tiles on there. So this has been a very slow process. So as you can see, I have my 1/4 inch trowel here. That's what I've been using. And I just have a nice metal spatula. I had a plastic one, but it busted, so FYI, probably get a metal one. And I just basically take a big load of it, plop it on the tile. Right, I'm pretty generous with it. You're gonna scrape most of it back off and be able to use it again, so. And then you're just gonna butter the back of your tile. You wanna get it a pretty even layer because you don't want hills and valleys and uneven tile on the surface of your wall. So I just keep working at it. I tend to scrape the edge once in a while, and then I kind of shift it up. Not real hard, kind of like frosting a cake, which if you know me, is the other thing I do. And I have actually found a few things during this project that have been kind of like frosting a cake, like texturing a wall, for example. So I didn't do too bad at those particular tasks because I kind of had some practice already in another format. So that's how you butter the back of your tile. Once you get it buttered, I'll stop there because I don't want to bore you. You're going to start at the very bottom of your tile and you're going to take a nice sweep up. The more upright you have your trowel, the higher your ridges are going to be, and that's what I'm doing for these tiles because they're so big. If you wanted the ridges shallower, you go at a closer angle of attack. So I'll show you the difference. Let me even that out a little bit so it's not cheating. Okay, see, frosting a cake. All right, so if I go shallow, like more flat to the tile, I'm gonna get a shallower ridge. Whereas if I go more vertical, like this, I'm gonna get a taller ridge. So you can kind of see the difference there. So not too much taller, but whatever, it works. So I'm gonna smack that back on because I need to finish buttering my tile before I do that. And I will have it up on the wall, and then I just have 2 left to go. And then it's time to put on the faucet fixtures. So, all right, everybody. Oh, and then I got to do that piece too. So, but that'll be easier. I buttered the back of those tiles too, and they're going to be the same as those tiles. So have a great day, everybody. Happy homemaking. Thanks for joining me. I hope this was helpful for you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.